This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
I'm Roby Brock. Welcome to Talk Business and Politics Daily. It's Thursday, August 11th. Let's check out today's top stories. The U.S. Marshals Museum in Fort Smith kicked off a new era with the arrival of President and CEO Patrick Weeks from Dublin, Ohio. Weeks met with fundraisers, organizers, and cheerleaders for the museum in an informal gathering this week. He said that the museum, which is still about $32 million shy of its short-term goal, will not likely open until 2019, not 2018, as originally hoped. Rumors have swirled for months about a new, fully independent school in downtown Bentonville from grades 6 through 12. On Thursday, Fadden School officials announced plans for a 30-acre greenfield building project slated to open to the first two grades in the fall of 2017. Walmart is donating the 30-acre site located at 8th and Main Streets in the Bentonville Market District. The Walton Family Foundation has helped with a feasibility study that suggests the region could benefit from another private school choice. More on this story at talkbusiness.net. Commercial Sales and Leasing, CSNL, one of Arkansas's most recently new publicly traded companies, reported a loss of $2.9 million compared to earnings of $4.8 million in last year's abbreviated second quarter. Revenues for the second quarter of 2016 were a little over $188 million. CSNL owns wireless towers, fiber networks, and other telecom infrastructure assets. Finally, the Hillary Clinton campaign will open its official Arkansas headquarters on Saturday. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker will be on hand to help launch the new office. Despite Clinton being Arkansas's former First Lady, the most recent Talk Business and Politics Hendricks College poll taken 6 weeks ago shows Clinton trailing Donald Trump in Arkansas 47 to 36%. And those are your top stories of the day. You can check out a full read on those articles and much more at our website at talkbusiness.net. Time now for a word from our sponsors, and I'll be joined by business editor Wesley Brown for a round of 4 minutes, 4 questions. We'll also take a look at jobless numbers in different regions of the state. And later, Little Rock School District Superintendent Michael Poore, our one-on-one from Wednesday night's town hall meeting, right after this.
First Security is here. Only here. So that means we're here, here, and here. Even here. And definitely here. Because here is where we want to be for you. First Security Bank. Only in Arkansas.
Arkansas's most abundant natural resource provides the core asset for Deltic Timber Corporation. In addition to the sustainable yield stewardship of its well-stocked timberlands, Deltic adds value by integrating its efficient wood products manufacturing facilities, as well as through planned development of commercial and residential real estate. Deltic Timber Corporation, creating value for a growing Arkansas.
Time now for 4 minutes, 4 questions with business editor Wes Brown. Always good to be with you. How are you?
I'm doing great,
All
great.
right.
Trying to stay out of the heat.
Stay out of the heat for sure.
Yeah.
All right, first question to you. We are midway through basically the second quarter earnings period for most companies. Give me one key surprise that has stuck out for you in the first quarter, or in this latest quarter.
I think you can just say Murphy, and that surprise on two fronts. Murphy USA, which is a spinoff from Murphy Oil Company, they had a great quarter, about 46 million.
Right, despite lower revenues.
No, despite lower revenues. So that means they're operating efficiently, doing well in all areas of their business. But the other part of that is Murphy Oil Corp. They eked out a little small profit, but when they spun off Murphy USA, generally the parent company does better, is bigger, but now their market value is actually below Murphy USA, which is a big surprise.
Yeah.
And I guess the other part of that question is looking forward as far as earnings. I think we have to look at Walmart and Tyson Foods. Anytime well, if they do well, that means maybe that the economy is doing a little bit better.
All right, well, we'll watch and see. Tyson comes out on Monday.
All right, well, I want to talk to you about the FinTech and Accelerator program just completed here in Little Rock, and I think did really well, had some really success. The governor came in. Do you think that is the kind of the wave of the future for as far as incubating startups in the area?
Well, I think it's one of the big ways that Central Arkansas at least is going to do that, because we also have the Innovation Hub doing the health and life sciences accelerator program over there, which was also deemed pretty successful, had some corporate backing. FIS has backed this latest one, this FinTech accelerator. Yeah, I think that we found a sweet spot. I think we found a way to recruit some startup companies here, seed them with a little bit of capital, but more importantly, seed them with access. If I learned anything from our series of doing that, it was the fact that doors can open here that don't necessarily open in Silicon Valley or maybe in New York or some other places where there are some bigger places to launch. But hopefully we'll see some come out of it. I think, too, we won't see necessarily, you know, billion-dollar companies come out of here, but we could see some very strong million-dollar companies.
And I think a corporate backing is a big piece of that puzzle.
Yeah, I agree. All right. You have reported about an uptick in Arkansas drilling permits, something we have not seen much of in quite some time. Does this mean that the Fayetteville shale play is going to play again?
Well, we might see a little uptick of Southwestern Energy had said they're going to, put about 73 million in the second half of 2006. That may mean one or two more rigs in the Fayetteville shale play, but I still don't think we're going to, even with the uptick in drilling permits can mean a lot of things. They're testing, exploratory, but until you see those completion reports and seeing where they're ready to go and develop those wells and produce some natural gas out of those wells, you're not going to see the type of investment come back to the Fayetteville shale that you see 4 or 5 years ago, billions of dollars. We may see, I think if we get 100 million or 200 million, that's probably pretty good. I think that's going to be pretty good.
We'll have to watch some of the severance tax collections to see if
we definitely have to keep an eye on that. My question to you, Conway is doing pretty good, as far as the startup community. You've had Insight, a company that came up there, and then you have the Coding Academy that recently started. I'm going to say this kind of with a smile on my face, will Conway be the next Silicon Valley? Well,
Silicon Valley is pretty big, Wes. I don't know. But I would say Conway's doing some smart things when it comes to technology. You mentioned the Arkansas Coding Academy, which is a big score for them. Insight, which just took over some HP operations there. You've got Privacy Star, led by Charles Morgan. You've also got still Axiom Legacy operations there.
A little bit of a piece of
Matova is up there with a pretty big presence. I know of another tech firm that is going to make an announcement soon in Conway. So I do think that they are on a roll. Will it be Silicon Valley? Maybe Silicon Gorge might be a better way to say it, but they are definitely doing something right. And those colleges and universities up there are a great feeder program for some of the tech and younger tech workers that they need.
Yeah, they're doing pretty good.
We'll see. So maybe Silicon Dell. That could be another one there too. Whatever a Dell versus a Valley is, we'll see. All right, he is Wes Brown. 4 minutes, 4 questions. Always fun to spar with you. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
When we come back, a look at the latest jobless numbers around the state, and then my sit down with Michael Poore, superintendent of the state's largest school district. What's his plan to get things back on track? We're back after this.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us.
Oh, I love you too, sweetie.
Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.
I did.
As Arkansas's population grows, so do our energy demands. But with the right mix of resources, reliable, affordable power will always be a reality. These resources are all around us in our rivers, blowing through our trees, even right below our feet. The answer isn't focusing on one resource, it's embracing them all. The electric cooperatives of Arkansas know that a balanced approach to power builds our communities and powers our dreams. Visit themixmatters.com and see why there's power in knowledge.
Time now to take a look at the latest jobless numbers throughout Arkansas, and not just the statewide unemployment rate, which held steady at 3.8% in June. We're going to drill down into the 4 main metropolitan areas for a look at what's happening on the employment front. Let's begin with Northwest Arkansas. The region's metro jobless rate was 3.1% in June. That was up from 2.8% in May, but it is below the 4.1% in June of 2015. The number of employed in Northwest Arkansas totaled 257,978 in June. That's a new record for the region. In the Fort Smith region, the metro jobless rate was 5% in June. The number of workers rose to 116,990, which is up 1,260 net jobs from a year ago. In Central Arkansas, which includes Little Rock, North Little Rock, and Conway, saw its jobless rate rise 0.3 of a point to 3.7% from May to June, but it's down more than a full point from 4.8% a year ago. Now, the June employment number in Central Arkansas of 345,719 again set a new record for the state's capital city metro area. And in Jonesboro, the hub of Northeast Arkansas, that area's jobless rate was also at 3.7%, up 0.5 point from May, but far below 5.1% a year ago. And with 60,767 in the workforce, June marked a record for employment in the Jonesboro Metro, beating the record set in the previous month of May. Now, these 4 metropolitan areas accounted for more than 60% of all new jobs in June, thus their importance. Now, these numbers are part of our daily reporting at talkbusiness.net. You can keep up with important data like this in a variety of news stories and reports that we offer. After this break, I sat down Wednesday night with Michael Poore, the new superintendent of the Little Rock School District. What state policies would be helpful for him to do his job better, and what's his timetable for bringing the district out of state control? Find out after this.
Circuits turn on the lights by making a connection, by closing the loop. At Entergy, we believe our economy is circular too. What you put in comes back. So we invest billions in new infrastructure, which helps attract new industry, which helps create new jobs. We partner with local communities to electrify the economy, and together we power life. Entergy.
You've likely heard of the Great Arkansas Treasure Hunt. In fact, you or your business may have property to claim in the hunt. But where does this treasure come from? Businesses like yours. The law calls it unclaimed property. If your business is holding money on its books that you've not been able to return to the owner, it's most likely unclaimed property, and the law requires it to be sent to the state auditor's office each year. Auditor Andrea Lee's office can make the process for businesses to comply with the law easy and straightforward. Help us help you return Arkansans' unclaimed property at auditor.ar.gov.
Michael Poore took over as superintendent of the Little Rock School District on July 1st of this year. Last night, our content partner KATV Channel 7 held a town hall on the district and its future. I sat down with Poore to discuss what needs to change in terms of state policy and how the district may get out from under state control.
And welcome back. Our news partner, Roby Brock, with Talk Business and Politics, joins our conversation now. Roby, welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Chris. Thank you much. Mr. Poore, thank you so much for being here with us. I want to ask you a couple of personal questions. You've been peppered for almost an hour with all of these hardcore questions, and I want people that are watching this to maybe know a little bit more about you. You ever watch Family Feud?
I have.
You know the quick answers at the end of the show where they hide the person, they got to come out and answer it. So I want quick answers here.
Yes, sir.
Your mother and father, what were their occupations?
My dad was in the oil business and worked for Continental Oil, and then had his own company for a while, and then went to a company called Gary Energy. And then my mom was tied in with my dad on a private business, and then also was a realtor.
All right. You are a teacher, a basketball coach, and an administrator throughout your career here. Did you ever consider being something else?
Yeah. When all throughout my educational life in the K-12 world, I was all set to go to law school. And I still have a little bit of, things that say, man, I wonder if that was the right call. But because I think I still would have that angle of wanting to maybe do it. But I switched into public education when I went to work at a youth camp. And the youth camp was all designed to be non-competitive, which was totally against anything I'd always been super competitive. And it was non-competitive, and all of a sudden I'm like, wow, I like kids no matter what type of activity I'm involved with them.
All right, you coached basketball at Doherty High School in
Yes,
Colorado.
Sir.
What was the mascot? Do you remember?
The Spartans.
All right,
Absolutely.
and you also were at Wasson, home of the
T-Birds.
There you go, the Thunderbirds. He knows his mascots. I'm
Absolutely.
impressed.
Never
All
forget
right.
your mascot.
No.
All right, last question. This is basketball. Man-to-man or zone defense? What's better?
Man-to-man,
All the
absolutely. Not all the time. You have to sometimes have a little bit of mix in there. And
All
so
right.
I strayed a little bit away from the Bobby Knight approach, but mainly man-to-man.
I thought as an educator he might say zone, with kids everywhere. Maybe not.
That's the way it is at our house. We have 3 kids, so we're on zone defense there. All right, so let's talk about some things that might need to happen from a state policy perspective. You touched a little bit on pre-K earlier when you guys talked about that. I heard you talk a little bit about workforce and some of the things you're wanting to bring to the district. In there are other things too, money, testing, concurrent credits or another thing. What needs to change at the state level, do you think, to help you do your job better and bring the district up?
You brought a lot of things up right there, Roby, that
We have a lot of time.
we could jump in. So I guess, when I look at it, one of the things that I want to see from our state government is I want to see cooperation. For K-12 educators, we want to see the Arkansas Department of Education working hand in hand with the Career Tech Unit, working hand in hand with higher ed. And that has started to happen, and they are doing a much better job over the last 2 years, but we're just scratching the surface in terms of what could happen that could improve support to students. So that's one. A second thing that you brought up is that a lot of times that fits still in with these 3 different agencies, as we try to be innovative and creative, it can be a little bit of a challenge because everybody has different rules and timelines, even develop a new course. Business people get frustrated with that. I mentioned earlier that we're going to do a think tank, and business leaders are going to say, here's the career strands that are needed for Little Rock. Well, it may be a career strand that we don't have a course for. You should see the challenge to not only deal with the bureaucracy of a Little Rock school district, but the bureaucracy of the Department of Education, the bureaucracy of the Career Tech Unit, and the higher ed, and then you try to go mix in, trying to add in a concurrent credit. It's super challenging, and we need to break down some of those barriers.
How do you slice through that? I mean, you've got legislative support that would advocate, I think, for that.
I think there are legislators that are ready to go take these type of things into a forum to try to make it happen, but really I think our governor's really trying to work on it as well to force the agencies, and you got the right people in place in these agencies now to help break down those barriers. And of course, we as K-12, it's one thing for them to sit and meet, but we also need the K-12 educators to be in the room to help guide some of that conversation. But we also need business leaders in the room to help guide those conversations.
They'll show up at the state capitol, I can promise you that. That's Michael Poore, Little Rock School Superintendent. And there is more from last night's KATV Town Hall on the district's future at katv.com. That's all for today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. Thank you for watching. Check us out online at talkbusiness.net for the latest in business and politics. Plus, follow us on Twitter at TB Arkansas or on Facebook or LinkedIn. Just plug in Talk Business and Politics to find us and follow. If you want to receive our daily email newsletters, they're free. You can receive them every morning in your inbox before 7 a.m. Just email me at roby@talkbusiness.net and I'll sign you up. And if you want to listen to a podcast of this show, perhaps on your commute to and from work, or in the iTunes store and on Stitcher, or you can just play us through your smartphone. I'm Roby Brock. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, take care.